Hey, Jamie Stenhouse here, and hope you're having a great Christmas. I thought I would record this little clip to cover a quick topic that is in relation to what I received for Christmas that comes from a conversation I had with a very close friend of mine about 6 months ago. And the conversation actually came about from another present I got in 2023 or 2022. And essentially in 2022, someone very close to me was able to secure a series of custom-made notepads from an office that was closing down. These are just your typical A5 notepads, I think it is A5? Yes, A5 notepads. Pretty nice GSM, right? Unlined. And they were able to secure probably 20 for me. And each of those 20 had at least 100 pages on there, right? So I had a lot of notepads to use. And I've always have been using a notepad, either in a notebook or a notepad or some form of external tool to write things down. I've tried all the planners on the apps and the internet's right. I've tried all those hacks and tools and I haven't found them that helpful. And I think there's a reason why. I think it depends on who you are as a creative, right? If you're more analytical, maybe you like to plan on a screen. If you're more creative like me, right? Getting things out of your head and out of the screen I find really helpful. So I always plan on a hard copy, right? I use a hard journal, a hard planner, I use hard cover notepads and notebooks too. The reason I'm saying all of this is because the conversation I had with a friend about 6 or so months ago is about what I would like for Christmas. And I said to him as a bit of a joke, I was like, I just want like a notepad or 20. And he laughed and he said, how come? And I thought about it and I was being very serious when I said that. And the reason was because having a clear head and an uninterrupted flow of creativity and mind and consciousness that comes from having that clear head is undervalued, right? So how I use a notepad or a notebook or anything that's external, but probably more so a notepad is I use it to empty the head, right? To keep the mind clear so that I can do really good work, so that I can solve really complex problems for the team or for our clients, right? And how that usually operates is that I'm in flow, I'm doing some sort of task, some sort of project to help out a client, either help them to hire someone or develop new processes or protocols or systems, right? Or I'm helping the team or I'm doing whatever task, right? And something will come into my mind. Either there'll be an interruption outside that I'll see something out there and it will spark some curiosity, or a new idea will come in, or I'll be reading something as I'm doing my research for our clients and I'll think of some cool ad campaign or some new process template, right? And these thoughts and interruptions can be good. A lot of great ideas come out from these. However, just because it's a great idea doesn't mean I have to act on it immediately and interrupt the thing that I determined to be important in that present time with this new interruption or distraction. So what do? Well, I could write it in a Word document, Evernote, or Notion. However, that all kind of gets jumbled because as soon as I leave the computer, then I'm not forced to sort out those ideas. As I found, having a notepad and covering my space in notes, when I leave the computer and I close up for the whole day, I'm now forced to organize and coordinate all these external ideas. So as I'm completing the tasks for each day and an interruption comes in or some new idea or some problem, right, rather than sort of switch gears and be interrupted and be thrown off, will capture that and I will write it down somewhere on a notepad and I'll tear it off and I'll store it somewhere. That could be for tomorrow's list. That could be to address and review at the end of the week. If you are a client of ours, you know that I'm a huge fan of reviewing all the notes and ideas and interruptions that have happened during the week at the end of the week to determine, is this still important? Do I have to schedule this? Do I have to assign this to someone on our team? Is this a process that needs to be created, or is this even important anymore? Right? As opposed to responding to everything as it happens, I'm capturing it all, I'm getting it out of my head, I'm writing it down on a hard copy space, and I'm pushing it out of view for the interim. So that when the end of the week comes around, okay, well, let's see the things that I captured throughout the whole week and sort them. Again, is it something for the team, for myself, our clients, right? Is it a new idea? Is it groceries that I need, right? All these interruptions, I try to block them from my head through using notepads and notes, right? And what I got for Christmas was not surprising. I got a flip notebook, great, fantastic, very good. Got another flip notebook, absolutely fantastic too as well. Got some smaller ones, which I quite like. I think these would be good for little quick ideas. And then I got this nice large one too, which I like because it has a tear off page. Now, before you start to ask me, well, which notepad should I get? Should I get a journal? Should I get a tear off notepad? Should I get a flip book? Up to you. I think the tool isn't as important as how you use the tool. For example, this is what I'm currently using right now. Oh, and also, actually, I'll show you this first. I'm just using a set of these standard notepads. They're bright, they tear off, which is really cool. They're reasonably cheap, right? And in the last 24 hours, I've been able to process 5 pages of notes. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that in the last 24 hours, I was completing tasks and duties and projects, right? And all these interruptions came up, and I wrote them down as they came up, as new ideas came up, interruptions, new things that had to be assigned, scheduled, right? And a lot of this can be prevented through looking upstream, like what's causing these interruptions? Is it also, I keep phrasing them as interruptions. I will rephrase that. What keeps triggering these ideas or interruptions or new projects or random tasks or responsive duties right now? Yesterday I had a few team meetings, so a lot of that input came from team meetings, right? I'm having a conversation with someone from the team. I'm capturing things that need to be completed. I'm not going to implement on them right away. Why? Because yesterday was a team meeting day. It's a time to be present, talk to the team, find out what it is they need. And then I'll capture everything, all the ideas, curiosities, questions, problems, things that are going really well, right, that need to be improved upon, scaled up, so on and so on. And I will jot them all down so that I'm not having to keep track of what is planned and what has to be completed. So that now I can review all this over probably right after this actually, and I can now begin to slot these certain tasks and projects into certain time slots that are really associated to that type of task, right? So on Tuesdays, I usually handle calls, right? And it's all calls and emails on that day. On another day, it's all creative work. On another day, it is all project work too, right, as well. On another day, it is all client work, so on and so on. Now, the reason that I can set aside an entire 24 hours to a certain category of tasks is because I keep my head empty. No one has ever designed or built anything of huge importance or greatness through switching tasks every 10 minutes, right? You need full, uninterrupted blocks. And it's not an hour block or 15-minute blocks. It's uncapped, uninterrupted time. What does that mean? Well, again, this depends purely on your own creativity. For myself, if I'm solving a complex problem or creating something new, or trying to solve an existing problem or help out a client, right? I would like to have no schedule to solve that problem. I would like to have 2 or 3 days to solve that problem. Why? Because I can review all the inputs, I can research, I can compare certain ideas, I can split test concepts, I can review our existing processes and see if any of them will slot into that problem, right? There's an infinite range of solutions to any problem. And rather than just going for the quickest one, let's go for the most efficient one, the most highest return one, the most unique one that maybe if we solve that problem, it can be duplicated across other clients too as well. It's literally like art. I treat this like art in the sense that if I had to design something as an artist, a writer, a producer, sculpture, right, and I had a 2-hour block time to complete that, it's probably not going to be very good. However, if I had a few days, a few weeks, a few months, well, now we can really solve that problem properly and create something that's timeless and beautiful. Extreme example, we spent an entire year, about 13 or so months, recreating our previous product, an entire 13 months. We shut down all client enrollments, we paused all income producing activities to create a stellar product that just can solve any company's problems in weeks, not months or years. And it has shown that again and again through multiple different industries, almost 100 unique industries. What a cool product, right? This thing can solve any company complexity and has been shown to across 100 unique industries, regardless of team size or complexity or software or regulations, right? And you can only create something so impactful to your clients through having a clear head and a sharp mind and not having those interruptions, right? Now, I know that's a privilege. You know, some people have children, some people have other responsibilities. I understand that as well. I have things that I need to take care of as well each day. If that be simple things like training 3-4 times a day, right? Cycling, Thai boxing, gym, and yoga, or if it be certain family things too as well. I get that. There are these non-negotiables that have to happen each day, each week. However, outside of that, any noise or triggers or interruptions that come in that you think, oh, that's cool, I should do that. Or, oh, did I get the groceries? Or, oh, is that credit card currently overdue? Or, oh, have I ordered that new textbook, right? All these random thoughts that come through, I jot them down on a notepad. And then at the end of a week or a day, because if you are a client of ours, you know that I'm a huge advocate of planning tomorrow, today. So I review all these things. Is this a task or an interruption or an admin duty thing that slots into tomorrow's schedule or the next day or next week, or maybe I arrive at the end of the day and I realize it's not important anymore. It's quite impressive if you give interruptions or things that are really urgent enough time from when they surface to the present time. It's amazing how many of those things solve themselves or how not really important they ultimately are. So all of this is a strong endorsement to get yourself a notepad. Not any, there's no unique kind of notepad, just something that I think you can tear off. I think that's really good because you can kind of keep these on your table in a nice, neat pile, right? And maybe you decide to have each of these sheets associated to a unique project. And then as that project proceeds, right, you can begin to cross things off and sort them all out and so on and so on. And it's not on the screen because the screen's the most distracting place to work, right? It used to be really productive, but it's just distracting. You have infinite choices of music and apps and things to check and emails and chats and all that stuff, right? So getting off of the screen to plan is where you make solid plans. And how you make solid plans is you have an empty head because you can think through things clearly. You're not thinking about anything else. There's nothing you have to recall or remember, because you've moved it externally into a external printed hard copy format. And I've gotten so good at this in the sense that if I travel somewhere and I do not bring my planner or my journal or my 22 notes that I could have on me for that week, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be thinking about or I'm supposed to be completing, right? So this is really a space to store extra thoughts that you can think about in the future. And I do also suggest scheduling time to think. I do it each week. I sit, I think, and I review all the notes, all the thoughts, all the interruptions, all the plans, and I begin to sort and prioritize and queue up each of these for the week to come. This is really, really helpful because it gives me comfort knowing that I've addressed everything. I'm not trying to recall things. I'm not trying to look for emails. Who said this what? And is that for Tuesday or Friday? Right? I'm not concerned about the admin duties of my own life, right? Credit cards, travel, groceries, whatever, right? I'm not concerned about any of that. It is all stored in black and white ink, right? And I just review it, I sort it, and I categorize it. So this year, as I told everyone I wanted extra notepads, I got extra notepads, and I'm extremely pleased at that, right? I've got, these notes are just everywhere, and it brings me comfort to just go through all of them and know that nothing has been left. There's nothing that slips through the cracks here. It's all caught. It's all on hard copy. Every thought, every phone call, every email, right, that comes in that is unplanned, right? Just to clarify, I'm not just capturing things for the sake of capturing them. If it's unplanned, right? So if I planned out a full day of creative work or team calls or product work, right, or client work, and anything that lands outside of that category, I'm going to capture. I'm going to write down on a notepad to think about it in the future, to sort it in the future, right? If that be at the end of the day, once I've completed the current task, or if it be next week or at the end of the week as well. I have historically used Sundays to plan and think and sort, and I would go through all of these notes, and sometimes these notes get shifted ahead a week, right? I've got a few notes here that have been on loop for the last 6 weeks in the sense that I wrote them 6 weeks ago, and I still think, it's not quite time to think about that yet. Not to address that, but it's not time to think about that yet, right? I think about these things. If it's not time to think about it, then it's not time to act on it, right? I think a lot of CEOs have their thinking and the acting time way too close, and that could be a symptom that things are unorganized. Like if you just have to act all the time, then how can you think through things properly and really ensure that you are taking the most sharpest, the most clearest decisions you can? And that's why a majority of the clients who come through us, we start with optimization. Let's free up your time. Let's get you to think clearer and sharper so that as we address problems, they are actually improving things now so that the future gets easier as you grow and scale. Typically, things get more harder, more complex as you grow and scale a company. And that's a symptom that things are not running well. Things should get easier the more there are of them. If that's not the case, then there's complexity, there's room for assumption, there's room for interpretation. And all of this stems from poor decisions upstream, right? So if we can make sharper, clearer decisions through keeping our head empty and clean and having time and space to think and plan, you can go pretty damn far. So that's my little rant on getting some notepads for Christmas, which I am truly thrilled about. I'm absolutely psyched about because it's how I think and plan and create and bring all these ideas around products and things that can help our clients out to life. I think it's underrated, and I think the tools and apps that you can use to sort ideas I think they're overrated. I think it's hard to retrieve those ideas. You need to know what you look for to retrieve those ideas. All of these notes, because they're out in the real world, it's hard to ignore them, right? And those notes hold information that I can process or sort or schedule or batch, right? So, long rant. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful. Get yourself some notepads, any notepad. Lined is good. I think lines are good. If you want tips, lines are good. It's not mandatory to get lines, but it certainly helps out. I also think just blank sheets are good. Like, I think you can do a lot with blank sheets because it's not constrained to words. You can draw things and whatever. I'm sure you get the gist here. So hopefully you found this helpful. Enjoy your Christmas, Happy New Year, and as always, keep doing your work, and I'll see you all sometime soon.